Hey everyone, welcome to the Dysphoria episode. It's great to see you all again, even though I can't actually see you, but you can see me, and that's cool too. It's a sunny day, and first I gotta get ready because I just kinda started getting organized around the house. Still kinda waking up today. It's been a lazy Sunday. So, anyways, time to get ready, and we'll chat about Dysphoria later. Glasses are off, contacts are going in. Alright, teeth are brushed, now it's time to shave.
I am who I'm meant to be. I am who I'm meant to be. Over and out again. My future needed clarity.
There, much better.
React, how you react to me. So much differently. I am different.
There, got my cute shirt on, and now it's time to do some makeup. There we go, a little Dysphoria shield for the day. So, Dysphoria. Let's talk a little bit about that. So I guess I'll first off start by saying that, say you're a trans person or an ally watching this, this message is to both, that not every trans person will experience dysphoria of any kind. Everyone kind of experiences different things, and it actually manifests itself in very different ways for each person. So what dysphoria is kind of like, without looking at a dictionary definition of it, what it means to me is like a sense of kind of like that voice in the back of your head that's constantly trying to undermine everything you do and saying that you don't look like for me, for example, a trans woman. Dysphoria for me is I don't look like a woman. Like, those are the kind of voices that say things to me, especially early on. It could be things like facial hair, my voice, my stature, my expressions, how I fit in with everyone. It kind of is all sorts of things, and having dysphoria or not doesn't make you any less valid as a trans person, because everyone's different. And I think the key to dysphoria is making sure you recognize it in advance and try to help yourself deal with it in a healthy and positive way before it becomes overwhelming. And I know that dysphoria can be horrible to deal with. I know from personal experience that sometimes it just seems like there's nothing you can do, but try to maintain hope that, like, it could be as simple as something as finding that cute outfit that really makes you feel good, putting it on in your room and looking in front of the mirror, something to kind of give you that sense of self, like to reinforce and validate your identity with yourself. And I think that's what's really important to always remember, is that you know who you are. Try your best to ignore that voice in your head that just always seems to take you down every chance it gets.
I've been walking through the rain, don't know where I'm going. My head's leading me.
So I kind of showed you part of my daily routine in this video, and I think the reason I did that was to kind of show that I still deal with some of these things that give me dysphoria, but I got to learn how to deal with them so that they didn't bother me nearly as much. And like, so I still shave every day. It's not, the hair is not as bad as it used to be, but it's still pretty bad at times that I have to deal with it. So as I said, dysphoria is a challenge for everyone. I think try to understand specifically the things that bother you most, and sometimes I think you might outgrow them after a while. I'm not nearly as dysphoric with my voice as I used to, but I have worked on it, and that's one of those action items, I think. Dealing with dysphoria is all about recognition, for one, realizing what bothers you. Next is come up with some ideas that help mitigate it when it flares up. So as I said, like if it's a visual thing and you're worried about your shoulders or something like that being really wide or really muscular, you could look at getting clothes that try to flatter different features of your body. Maybe you have a really nice neckline or a slim waist or something, and there are lots of resources online to try to figure out what works for your body type, because remember, women come in all shapes and sizes. I think the trick is just to find what works for you. If it's voice, it could be as simple as just practicing alone. Sometimes that makes me feel better. Actually recording your voice, and I had a tremendous gender euphoria recently because I really wasn't sure how my voice was doing. I hadn't recorded myself in a long time before I started this channel. And then I took a recording and then I listened to it and I was like, you know what? That's much better than what I thought. Try to remember that your voice sounds deeper to you than what it actually is sounding like externally to other people. If you have a really good support network, or even if you just have like one friend, as I said in the How to Be a Good Ally video, which you can always show them, they should be able to provide that support sometimes, where you just need to get out and do something fun just to put your mind off something. I deal a lot with people in public, and you get some funny looks, and so I guess a quick story. When I just had started hormones, I went on a trip to Los Angeles and went to Universal Studios and looked different than now. Now I have confidence, but before I was still pretty new. I was riding high because I had just started hormones, but I went to Universal Studios dressed up as my feminine self, and definitely at one point got some looks from people, and we were waiting in line for a ride. They stared. I looked behind me. There was nothing behind me to really stare at, so I knew they were looking at me. They would whisper to each other, then more of them would stare, and it was just a group of silly kids. And they were like giggling and laughing and just kind of like staring. So I was like, yeah, that's something, like, I'm pretty sure they were looking at me. But either way, even if they weren't and they were talking about something else, I took it negatively. So I really started to clam up and close down, and dysphoria really started to affect me. But what I did was I just held on. Once they kind of went on, they were ahead of us. Once they went on their ride, I was free of their stares. And then I went on the ride and just completely forgot about it. I was just like, no, I'm going to enjoy this ride, and got over it. And when we left the ride, I felt much better. So I guess the purpose of telling that story is sometimes just, if someone's giving you some dysphoria for funny looks or sayings or something, try to remove yourself from that situation as best you can and just focus on something else. whether it be what you're about to do or something else, something good. Always remember there are positives out there. So try to focus on those as best you can.
Looking past my reflection, thinking about what you mentioned. It was supposed to be the one to take every last pain away. Nothing on our loving, maybe time told us that we were different. Did it break you down? Staring at the ceiling.
I guess the last thing I wanted to say about dysphoria before the end of this video is that you never have to suffer in silence if you can have a support network. If you have access to a group therapy or a therapist for yourself, like a psychologist or a psychiatrist, definitely try to open up as much as you can. And don't worry about opening up all the way on the first go, but I think if you can get to a point where you can speak more freely about the things you are concerned about, ultimately that'll really help in the long run, because you may find shared experiences among people in, say, group, or a psychologist may have a lot of tips and suggestions for you to help you work through the dysphoria, and ultimately that's kind of how I think you get by it. Now, obviously there are certain areas of this world that are more prone to violence to trans people, so try not to think that what I'm saying goes against staying safe. If you're in a situation where doing things to combat dysphoria are in public and you could possibly put yourself in harm's way, please don't do that. I love you all. I want you to stay safe. And it is the way it is. But I did this video. I wanted to show that, like, things can get better. And if you recognize your dysphoria and mitigate it, do whatever you can to help yourself through it. Talk to people that you trust, that are allies, and work through it and come up with plans on how to actually help yourself with that. Yeah, I wanted to show, I hope you enjoyed some of the park and stuff. I didn't want this video to be completely kind of sad, and it is tough. It is a serious subject, but there is beauty in this world, and you are beautiful, and you are part of this world. Well, thank you for watching, and hope you have a lovely day. Okay, bye!